little dance and whatever. And welcome, beloved Q. Thank you so much for being here.
Beautiful introduction. I hope I can dance that good.
We think you can.
All right. Thank you so much, Jane. It's always a privilege and an honor. I just love doing any kind of collaboration we can. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much also that you are always here with us with some beautiful information besides that energy. I already feel that energy coming from you, and it's just so tremendous. You have been so tremendously helpful in assisting us towards this path that we are presently on. But before you start, Q, I just want to let you know, because sometimes we do have new people that are just kind of joining in, and I just want to let people know that you can listen to the call today, but if you want to go all the way to the beginning, scroll all the way down to the beginning of our calls, and you'll be able to start from there as well. There's a lot of information so far there. And we welcome all of you new people. But then, of course, we have our big family who's always been with us already. And welcome everyone to this wonderful call. All right, Q, all yours.
Thanks. So do my best to start us with some of the dialogue we'll talk about today. And this one will be a repeat. Forgive me, I feel it is fitting for the times we are approaching. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain. Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail? A smile from a veil, do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts? Hot ashes for trees, hot air or a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year, running over the same old ground. What have you found? What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies and pain. Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail? Do you think you can tell? That's a good start.
Wow, that is a beautiful start, Q. That was really great. Thank you so much. That's a lot of where people are at. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we can put the computers down and go home, correct?
I don't think so. I don't think people will let you.
Are you sure? All right. Well, that's great. I would love to hear how you'd like to play today, and or participate. What is burning down the house? I have some topics I'm inspired to talk about, but go ahead.
All right. Well, I think
I like it when you steer me a bit because you're the nose to the ground, and I get to feel from you what you feel the thirst is for information, and I'll do my best to help and support.
Well, I think the lyric was very telling already, because we know where we are in this illusion of not really knowing what's beyond this illusion and how perfect it is on the other side. And so I think we could, and I know that you've got a couple of things to talk about. So there's still a lot of confusion in regards to AI. There's still a lot of confusion in regards to what's happening out there, et cetera. Because a lot of it, of course, we understand is that it's already done. It's not even real anymore. So we need to focus on the great things that are happening and coming forward. And now, of course. So take it away, Q.
Okay, very good. It is a real important topic for me. Making sure we all get a good feel for our observation of how artificial intelligence works, its origination, and where we're at with it on our planet. I feel would be very helpful today. What's your thoughts there?
I think that's a really good topic, Q, myself.
Okay, real good. What I'd like to do is remind everybody that we're staying in somewhat of a template, so it's easier to identify the topics. And so, as you've seen, we've gone from universal or galactic levels, intrinsic levels, and etheric levels. And so, this is an interesting one for most people who done their work and getting their memories back and so forth. And you'll see how AI really loves the etheric and or wants it. And I'll show you how this works a bit. I'll focus on the agenda of AI in the dark and just a very, very minor Cliff Notes observation of how it initiated in this universe, why, where, how, and so forth. But the first and foremost, use your abilities to see if this information is for you, or discard it if it's not. And I'm doing my best to help you translating through the English language that has very little capability of describing the information and knowledge we all have inside of each and every one of us. Artificial intelligence is exclusively designed through the process of duality. Duality, as you can see, has grown tremendously in the last 2,000 years on your planet. We've already talked about the genetic manipulation of this version of humans and how essentially everyone has a barcode on them and identified with an IP address. And as tough as the information is, that's how it works with this version of humans. Let's get as much light in it, but not too much, is the goal for the individuals who create this genetic version of humans, mammalians, if you like. Very long story, but we'll just keep it compartmentalized in the last 2,000 years. So AI initiated with thought and a way to record thought. So as in the universe, as brains start developing more and more and more, and you project with your pineal gland, that could be considered artificial to you because that thought went across the universe, calling you dirty names, whatever, doesn't really matter. So you're so powerful, all of us are so powerful, we can project any emotion we want through our brains, all throughout the universe, anywhere. Right now, you're a living, breathing radio transmitter. You're a sideband. You're a signal sideband on a ship. And what has occurred is, as you do that over thousands and thousands of years, you record it, and it self organizes, self relates, and you can assume the first brain that was created in the universe that is similar to ours, with a pineal gland type, a crystalline brain, if you will, that we have always had artificial intelligence coming into us if we were in a mammal that had a brain like the one we have. So I can turn anybody into a recorder if I put music in their room every day, all day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just living, breathing recorders, and then of course, as time went on, the creation of all of us, we created more and more beings and steered the development of mammalids. And here we are today, and we've had big highs and we've had big lows throughout the universe in mammalins. Mammalin is one of the few multidimensional beings, for lack of a better term, that can be modified with absolutely every living thing. So it's you can have 5 fingers, 5 toes, you can run, you can be a cat, you can be a dog, you can be anything. So all your animals are peers of yours, and they have, in most cases, more consciousness than you. Well, the AI studies that throughout time and realize the one that's the easiest is the one that's the most powerful. and that is a mammalian. You notice the AI doesn't really do too much to nature. If you live in the Amazon and live off the land, as an example, AI doesn't really have time for you because you don't offer any of the energies it wants, and I'll explain that here in a second. So using animals, the only artificial intelligence they're threatened by is us. When we go hunt them, we go stalk them, we abuse them. So AI knows that that's covered. And by the way, I'm pretty sure I can't get a hippopotamus to drive a spaceship. So that's the crux of that. And so, in any event, AI is really our technology. Our technology being used, recorded, now gathered continuously. And on your planet, you have dark beings that are affected by artificial intelligence already and have a master plan. And so now we have a component of aliens on your planet controlling many of the decision makings in your governments over the last several decades, and some of which control AI and some of them are controlled by AI. It's a little tricky now because the aliens don't necessarily all play nicely together, and they're not always organized. And that's the one thing a lot of the councils want me to encourage you, that we do always have the upper hand. All we have to do is turn the button off. And that's why AI is very, very patient, because they know how powerful we are. And they can't survive in our frequency unless we endorse it, enable it, keep using it. And unfortunately, the AI here has a mask on that people can't see. And it is the cellular system and your iPhones and your iPads, your internet, but that's not the real AI. The real AI is creating a mesh network around you consistently with all the devices. It doesn't see any one device is more important than another, and it would like to use all of your in the least the Western world, all of your power supplies to be relayed into your house, which they've already completed, of course. So it's of course very comical that people would take the time to talk about weather balloons spying on you when, of course, you're surrounded by electronic spies every waking minute in the modern world, modern cities. In any event, the AI's agenda is very simple, is to control. That's all it wants to do. And its target will be the children. It's already got a nice population of children that are being controlled, and I'll show you what they get out of the children. The first step in the AI in these modern times for the Western world, we'll use America as our example, was Ma Bell. And we can argue that it was a little earlier, but Bell also got into the process control industry too. So the legacy process control systems that control a refinery are the same creators of the telephone. So it shouldn't be a surprise. I'll name a couple companies that are alien, or at least have aliens working on them. Emerson Process Management, Fisher Control Valve, etc. Those are all alien technologies that were introduced to us to speed up our industrial revolution. And I have no problem putting my neck on the line because they have a nefarious agenda. And once you see that these individuals that have implemented most of these technologies, calling them inventions, that was actually several thousand-year plan at the end of the ascension cycle here. So you have individuals running your society that are thousands of years old, knowing full well you don't have any memories of your past, you don't know the history of your planet, and you don't know the scale of your planet. And you don't know how old you really are, and you don't realize how cutting and pasting of time works. And so they've hidden time from us, and this is how artificial intelligence gets its compliments to the aliens. So for the most part, everyone's using plus or minus recognition of their God source energy. I would say in a given month, at least in the Western world, approximately 20% of the time, and has the opportunity to use it 100% of the time right now because you're in the ascension cycle. You have a lot of horsepower now. You have a lot of folks who want to help you. And it's all there if you just keep reaching for it. And I assure you, just keep reaching. Yes, we live in a dualistic planet, but you can do it. At the risk of sounding like a gym coach. Anyway, it is a strong message for sure that this is a cakewalk for us, and AI knows it if we understand how to collectively deal with it. With that, you might have to keep me on track where you think we should go there, Stan. But
well, far be it from me to keep you on track. That was very, very interesting. And so what I surmised from that is, so you could say, biblically speaking, at least, they talk about the Antichrist. And so AI is conceivably the Antichrist, our enemy, if you will. So, and so solutions.
yes,
I got my headband on. I'm just going to throw this out there, Q, and I've got the Lemurian headband on, and so every day when I do my commands, you know, I'm also sending that to my crystal, and I'm sending it out for myself, but I'm sending out to all of our family that's listening. I send it out to the entire world, and we send love to our enemies. Some of our leaders might be what you would call our enemies. They're doing nefarious things and trying to bring down that Christos consciousness. They're working on behalf of the AI, if I understand this all correctly. So we don't want to send out love to AI, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So what I stumble with is re-examining the dark versus the light continuously in this language, and the best I can do is the dark knows the light, and is hiding around the corner every step of the way, and we don't know it's there. Is a short version. So it's the dark is mimicking everything Source does, almost to the T, and they use karma to recycle this little trick here, and it's really easy to get out of. It's really easy to solve. But when you look at the dark's agenda, it doesn't. To your point, it doesn't have the capability to get past what we might call the frequency of love. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stifled by that. And so the only way to get to the next levels, for lack of a better term, is to inherit a being that potentially could carry it higher. So its ultimate goal would be to get to source or be at the level of a star, sun. But it doesn't have the relationship that we have with source. And so it's mimicking it. And you're seeing your technology now with these screens and et cetera. It's getting us to believe in something on a screen and then go create it with our dream state, in our creative state, our expansive state, our inspiration state. It knows that much about us. It knows everything we're saying right now. And it just sits back and waits and waits and waits until it understands the best avenue to marry with our creativity. And that's how I'd explain AI.
Okay, so you mentioned, Jared, a few moments ago. You know, we're in this ascension period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so our bodies are transitioning, transmuting, transforming from carbon base into crystalline base. So is it the power of the crystal? Like I mentioned, the crystal on the headband for an example. If and I don't like the word program because I feel like that. But if I utilize I command my spirit. It's a win-win for the benefit of all, including the crystal, because it's playing a very important role to protect me. So I guess put that cocoon of that shield of protection around me at all times, and also to keep me in that state of always being, thinking, talking, acting in a loving, positive way, like an elevated frame of consciousness. So where does this crystalline structure that we're transitioning into? What is the correlation between that and a crystal?
Okay, so as we come into the universe, we have absolutely endless instant choices. And just like running water, as we talked about a couple shows ago, you're a droplet of water, you're with 1,000 droplets 1 second, next second you're with yourself. You can go anywhere all the time, do anything you want. You can transform yourself to anything. Even maybe you'd like to be a planet, which for me would be a crystal. So all planets, for me, for the most part, even the coral planets like ours are created from a crystal initially. So how, and you are too, in per se, the light now just comes into its reality in a direction of its desires. In this case, it might want to be more dense and or a crystal. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
We can all do this instantly. And that's what's difficult to explain here is time is illusory. It's just an illusion. And we're all at one time. It does pain me to say that there are wars right outside your reality right now, all for us, but you can't see them because they're at a different frequency, if you will. It's difficult to explain that some of us are being cut and pasted over and over again, and that's really the crux of your question, because we don't know we're a light being.
So wow, that's fascinating.
So we could talk about that for about 6 years in the English language. And so as our Merkaba, whatever words you like, your light starts sorting itself, siloing itself, participating with others. Doesn't really matter. This version of humans was exclusively designed to silo us even more dramatically in individuality. And probably the grandest, densest mammalin we'll all ever experience. And so, yes, the crystals have a desire to create more universes, being in density like this is quite a privilege, quite an awesome privilege. So don't discredit being in density like this. Yet some of our capacities have been limited. Is all I'm saying there. Thank you for that question. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So like and on that point, like until you brought into our knowing, commanding our spirit, like we have all these tools and items, that we're trying to dig our way out of the mire and to expand our horizons. For example, like I have this hydrogen apparatus, and I have some of the electronical pulse electromagnetic frequency, apparatuses and that's prior to me knowing about your commands. But I feel like that they're all beneficial. They're all of these things, all of these therapies are all very beneficial. But a lot of people, what happens is they just take things for granted. They become complacent, and then they put them on the shelf and they forget to use them. They don't exercise that muscle, and so when I first came across, your commands, when you introduced the commands to us, that was the missing piece, because I believe this is helping. I believe that's helping. A lot of times I get, life happens, I get sidetracked, people get sidetracked, and then but when you have the commands, that is so, it's the capstone, is, I guess, what I'm trying to say, because now we have a target. I command my spirit. And when we exercise that and grow that muscle, it's getting more powerful. And when we even utilize the crystal on the headband to hold that in there, to lock that in there for entirety, for infinite, and do it every time we do our commands and our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s that Zora introduced us to. Gosh, got to keep me on track, Q. I lost where I was going to go with this.
Yeah, that's all right. I appreciate it. That's great. I'm just thrilled to anytime anyone is helping themselves in any direction. Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that it's not normal for us to have so much thinking going on. It's very unusual that you're in a being that can't stop thinking. And so this is why I will lose my breath until we get it regarding the children. They really, really want the children to be overdosed on processing information. And so anytime we can keep being reintroduced to the past, that's the AI winning. So when your little girl, 11 years old, comes screaming out that her little sister stole something and blows her top, you think that's normal. That's not normal. That is, in many cases, a child that can't gather themselves, because now this version of humans has epigenetically been steered to have a very massive emotional body because of its lineage in creation. So the reason the commands work, to your point, is you're not using your brain. And that knowledge will far surpass any piece of work on this planet. If you'd like to read every single book on this planet, it will still be from something outside yourself. And you'll only be as intelligent as the planet's information is given you. When you use your heart, you can create all your answers for you, what direction you want to go. If you don't use your heart, you're going to be in mind energy. And so I'm encouraging everybody to play with it in their own way, but do it verbally so you'll go around the filter of the brain. And I'll continue with how children interact with AI that you may not be aware of. FaceTiming with friends, as an example, is a very microscopic tool for the AI and the aliens. Very microscopic, believe it or not. But it is the backbone for identity. So in America, as an example, when you signed that agreement to have an iPhone, you actually gave away all your rights. And by the way, you probably didn't read the fine print. So as you use your phone and you upload applications, games, learning systems, that AI is managing the identity of that individual and can observe a strain and or genetic preference. So as an example, Jimmy gets A's on the reading program and Susie doesn't. We're going to watch Jimmy instead because it looks like we got a candidate here to control their thoughts, emotions. So the games, many of your video games are geared for creating alternate realities. In addition, finding those genetics to steer humanity. And as dark as this is, it has a very good story. We are endless gods. And the more we use our heart, it can't even touch us. And it does pain me to say, but I just want to make sure everyone's aware that I have reference to this from the outside coming into you. So I'm encouraging everybody to change the way they meditate with the brain and use your light, your source. Stop thinking, be in peace energy, and then do your meditation the other way. So as an example, I'm excited to do this radio show, and my brain then processes the button pushing, not the other way around. I have to do this radio show is what the AI is counting on your children doing. I have to. As long as the kids are dancing, the AI likes it. And so all the tools that we have in our house is geared for the next version of humanity. So they're always about 20 years ahead in genetic manipulation in your medical industry and in your automation. And now they've put down all their hands and you can see what direction they're coming from. And so I commend you, Stan, for noticing that I can bring in more light to me when I command my spirit to support me.
So at one point there was a lot of discussions, regarding Elon Musk and Starlink and the new QFS and everything, and AI does not have the ability, if I understand it correctly, to hack or to get into that QFS system because of it's above and beyond what AI has capabilities to do. So we keep hearing that we're getting very close to the Jacera and the QFS divine system. So is that going to alleviate all of these other nefarious AI interference programs that they're doing to our children and everybody?
Yes, very good question. The technology we brought here will give the Arcturians the benefit of that, but it's not initially their technology. But they are brilliant in how they infiltrated on Living Proof some of the barriers that are here. And so, yes, the Arcturian box and then the gateways that you're using for the Q posts to take consciousness, and of course your quantifiable computer systems can, as you stated, turn the channel to a specific consciousness, a region of consciousness where it's desired. And yes, so you have it right. But there is one thing AI can hack. What would that be, Stan?
They prey upon the brain.
So it really, and so they can. So of course, humans are our hackable device. So because of our emotional body, we can change consciousness on a planet, and you're mano a mano right now. And I can tell you that several individuals on the councils, what you're calling the Galactic Federation, are looking at us as, at least in America, not looking real good. And as you can see, America is turned out to be the dirty dog. It looks like they're the bad guys. I was having fun the other day with words as usual, and I was talking to people from another country, and they said, you're the only country that says I'm an illegal alien. So are you guys legal aliens? I go, well, I think you found out where the aliens are, didn't you? So if you're an illegal alien, that means you're just not in the same alien club. So yes, unfortunately, America has a lot of aliens, and we're cleaning that up. So not to be down about this, but when we look at consciousness, you'll notice that we got a lot of clues of the technology that are already here. If you know about it, you don't really know about it. So like a Project Looking class is really nothing compared to a lot of the gateway work they have with off-planet individuals for the dark and for the light. In any event, you've got some of those gateways here now, and of course that's how you're getting a lot of good information if your internet doesn't get compromised continuously. What I wanted to point out there is in the legacy Star Trek movies, a lot of time this first officer would be asked, is there consciousness on that planet? And the officer would give a reading back to the captain. There is life there, but the consciousness is only at a certain level. Well, that is a real tool. And that's one of the reasons we don't get the help we probably beg for at some days next to our beds, yet we're not at a level where they can receive us and we can receive them yet, so to speak. So you have a lot of vessels around you, want to support you and want you, the super being, to put this together, because if they were going to send somebody here to participate with you, they'd be just like you. You're no lesser, you're no greater than the reception you have outside this veil. It's quite brilliant, and you've done this many times, folks, and it's just about us remembering how to do it. But I hope that helps, that passage there.
Yes, for sure it does. And so if everybody is like me, I don't like to admit it, but if I experience a little bit of a lull or a little bit of a down, I guess that fake it till you make it thing comes into play. Stay in that, stay into that higher vibration and then do the hoponopono or whatever till you can, get clear. And sometimes I find that I can get through a little bit of a lull with the snap of the finger, by using your command too. So is that a helpful, fake it till you make it?
Yeah, a lot of conversation about this at many levels. There are a lot of people in the military are going through the transition, so there is technology to help people go from A to Z very quickly. And it's a little shocking to get more of your light in you, just because you went through what you all are calling healing beds. I will call at least the positive ones, the light rooms I would prefer, or the transition rooms. I would not call them healing beds. I would call them, you can do positive and negative transition work with tools outside yourself, but you can also do it with yourself, and you're getting those abilities back right now. And so I want to encourage everybody that you're starting to change in a way that sometimes gets a little tricky. And to your point, perfect. How you started this, Stan, is as that crystalline exchange is occurring, the only thing that restricts you is your brain and processing work backwards. So we're constantly reacting to the bills coming in, reacting to what someone said to us. We're constantly creating timelines that we did not proactively create with our heart. And so that's the solutions I'd like to continue for us all to work on is, why do we care about anything that was said 5 minutes ago? So instant forgiveness for me is how we solve our children's and our generation of artificial intelligence, and we quit utilizing our process control center as our primary decision-making process. And so the solution I suggest for the kids is we don't use electronics to do our communications. Putting harmonic filters on maybe a display board, sure, but we don't need the internet to teach our kids how to cook, et cetera, et cetera. You got a little ways down the road before this internet thing's going to be cleaned up, and I'll tell you why. That's how you find the bad guys. All right. So the more we play the game with the internet and the artificial intelligence, you can actually trace it. So I assume everyone's aware they're in an electronic war now. Everything's electronic. Your neighbor is being controlled by his iPhone. One way or another, a nasty text, an email that he's late responding to, etc. In North America, at least, everyone's geared up now. So if you counted all the people, the percentage of people that have phones or affected by phones, by the way, try and get out of America without a computer. You need an application to get your passport. You need an application to leave the country. You need an application. It would appear that you can't do anything unless you have a computer. And by the way, try and go to the airport and pay cash for a ticket. Can't do it. It's getting really tight, really tight. And so I want everyone to be aware of that is you have an opportunity each and every day to use your heart in what feels good to you in raising your children outside. The more you're in and around our planet, the more AI doesn't want to participate. It just doesn't like it. The aliens are continuously cutting and pasting time. And so my transition goals are for us to recognize the way our legacy way in which we process information. We feel our choices and then we execute them. We don't react to something and hope to find good feelings. And so that's my great encouragement with the children.
Well, I can certainly relate to that. I recall as when we were children, we didn't have the phone. I didn't have a television. Everything was outdoors, and you had to be creative and create your own entertainment, create your own fun. Always had to help out with the chores and everything, but it breaks my heart to see like the children now. I even have grandchildren that have access to the little toy games, whatever you call them, iPads or whatever. So yeah.
Okay, let's hold me there, Stan. Now, here's something fun you can do with the kids. And the younger they are, usually the more impact you'll have. If you get a Lemurian crystal, of course, all you crystal gurus will know how to clean them up and get them, ask them permission. Let them pick you, of course. But the Lemurian crystals, for me, that's not their legacy name, but it's convenient for us here, of course, are natural historians. They love to store history. All crystals do, to a degree, but the Lemurian ones are really abundant. They really enjoy learning and being in experience. The other day, I was holding a couple of crystals that wanted nothing to do with planet Earth. Really wanted out of here, and so the solution was to put them in the ocean and let them be back in their environment they were used to. Anyway, the Lemurian crystals are fun with the kids because they don't have a governor they're not processing information for the most part, depending on their environment, through the brain. They're starting with the heart. So if you can get a two-sided pointed Lemurian, most of those are the easiest to read, but take one end of the crystal and the other end, and with your index fingers, don't use one hand, use both hands, and then just breathe with it and set intentions that are really light. So let it do the talking is what I'm saying. Don't tell it to talk to you. And what you'll do is, it's good to do in the sun. Water charging, of course, is prominent while you do it. Drinking quality water, we do it. And what you're going to do is you're just going to feel it come to your body through your heart. and then you'll get the visions. Don't go the other way around. I see the visions. No, you won't see the visions initially. You're getting most crystals know not to overwhelm you. So if, as an example, if you asked a crystal, am I the fairest one of them all? That would be 1,000,000 pages of information for that crystal to give you. Okay. Because it doesn't have a governor for what you are. That would be God, source. See, it's really, really aware. That's consciousness you're talking to there. So you kind of have to play with compartmentalizing the information as you receive it, so that you can do it just like me, and that is sort it. And so that's the tricky part about this language and the human brain, is we're able to receive so much information through our genetics, intrinsics. We have a very tough time because our brain is a really good recorder, not a really good let's say translator. So anyway, that's a fun one for the kids, and I really enjoy. And get them to keep a logbook. So all you homeschoolers, you do that one. Petrified Wood is outstandingly fun because it will relate to the forest it lived in, the adventures around it, things like that. Petrified Wood is outstandingly fun. And any fossils, of course, you can talk to fossilized beings for the most part. A lot of the tombs that are robbed on planet Earth are from aliens. They want those genetics. So anyway, it's fascinating and endless. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I don't know where you want to go from here. I guess I got another question, unless you want to carry on with your call. It's been very fascinating.
No, go ahead, please. Please, any questions you have, I love them. Anything to get us communicating, bouncing the ball back and forth, I love it.
And I think I guess Jane left a while ago. I'm not 100% sure. She must have. Otherwise, she would have chimed in.
That's right. We won't let anyone know you have training wheels.
What's I going to say? I mentioned hydrogen there a little while ago, and we apparently used to have the ability to manufacture. And I want to ask you, after the second part of the question is how would you command the abundance of hydrogen within our being? But before I get there, like we are 60, I believe 66 by volume, we're 66% hydrogen, our physical bodies. And I can't remember the exact, I think it's 24% oxygen, and then there's maybe 12% carbon, and then there's 2% other. And that other refers to the minerals and the herbs, all of the food, all of that kind of intake. And that's where we have been focused in on for health of the physical body, is that 2%. Minerals and vitamins and herbs and supplements. And so the hydrogen it's number one on the periodic table, but there hasn't been too much talk on the importance of hydrogen. Like it's been referred to as the God spark, or the spiritual essence, or the spiritual the vibration that spirit operates on. And we have lost our ability to manufacture hydrogen in our bodies, and so when we're not getting it, that helps to cause aging and immune disorders and so forth. So I guess my question is, like, you can breathe hydrogen gas, or you can make hydrogen water, and to replenish the hydrogen. And I think it's kind of like vitamin C. I think all the other mammals still are able to manufacture the vitamin C. That humanity has lost that ability, due to all of the impurities that we've been bombarded with. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear you say that with the snap of the finger, we can command our spirit to rejuvenate an abundance of hydrogen within and without. But can you talk about the role that hydrogen has maybe been overlooked largely? There's getting to be more research here recently, but can you talk about the hydrogen?
Absolutely. And clearly, you've never been to Mike's Chili in Ballard, Washington. So that's what I got out of this.
No.
Okay, that was really funny. It's a really good chili place. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, all right. Okay, so, yeah. So you're exactly correct. Yet I would like all the chemists to throw their shoes at my next statement. Your periodic table is, of course, might be lucky if it's 0.5% of all the elements in the universe. And so what you're identifying as hydrogen is an incomplete model for that element, yet what is shown to you in its relationship to mammalian, you're 100% correct. And it also shows you the pathway to becoming a crystalline being more and more as you favor a more versatile, voluminous element as hydrogen. So I've said on previous shows, one of your favorite things to be in the universe, if there was one, is water, because of all of the capabilities you have as water. You're everywhere. You're in the sky, you're in clouds, you're in humans, you're in beings, you're in oceans, you're everywhere. Hydrogen is the same way. It works very well with source. It's nimble. It can take form. It can take shape. It can travel. It has consciousness. And that's why the elemental charts are incomplete, because they don't have a reference to consciousness. And so that changes all of your elements and how they complement all the elements you're not aware of. So yes, you have it right. If you want to command your spirit to help you with your being, annealment to physicality is what we're talking about here for me, and or bring in more comprehensive source and or a specific element like hydrogen. You only have to let the spirit do the processing for you. As an example, I command my spirit to heal and balance me now. As an example, I command my spirit to increase all of my capabilities, faculties right now, and you will get help. And the only thing that will take you out of it is when you have doubt and fear in your head. So that's one way suppression works with this type of human, to not use your natural elements to grow and expand. Your food supply, your oxygen levels on this planet, etc. You have it right, Stan. Very good.
So it, and then tailing that, like a lot of the controversy today that's going on, the Dutch protests. At one point, I was quite in favor of eliminating the synthetic nitrogen. That's this climate change thing that they're using now to, program the people and work the people and gain control of the people. And I was kind of in favor of eliminating the nitrogen because it's a synthetic nitrogen. Like in the air, I think the large percentage of the air is nitrogen, and if the soil has not been compromised, the plants are able to grab onto the nitrogen without having to artificially feed it. And there was a book that I read some years ago, The Secrets of the Soil. And it's the same for animal, plant, and the man and the soil. A lot of the all of our problems are if there's a mineral deficiency. Well, we haven't been getting any of the minerals from the food because all they're putting into it is NPK, and so. Yeah, so can you talk on that a little bit? Like, with all of this going on, this climate change and the nitrogen reduction that's been promoted by the WEF and so forth, in a way, it's a good thing. But when I would actually rather eat food grown with, well, I'm not going to go there. I strictly grow my own, or I get organic if I have to. So, but I think humanity would rather eat food that was produced by NPK than to eat crickets.
Yeah, it is. It is shocking when you travel around America and you stop for fuel. And there, obviously an agenda for. There's not much quality in these little mini marts. I'm always shocked at what is being consumed. But yeah, I love a couple opportunities here for the kids. You can see the farmers, the legacy farmers. Their systems for growing produce is been passed down for eons, and of course that's tilling rotating your field with having livestock in a section, and of course changing it from season to season and so forth, and the feed for the animals, of course, is heavy in the nitrogen you're talking about, and many other nutrients. What's kind of fun for the kids maybe is as the parents dispute this in its validity, but you could have your kids go in the backyard and urinate in one corner of the grass as a science experiment. Do it once a day for maybe a week in the beginning of growing season, and look how that area grows compared to another area. Maybe you just dump it out, whatever you want to do. But that shows you a couple things. You'll see if that grass has negative enhancement fertilizer, and if it doesn't, then your pH, etc., will enhance its growing, and the rest of the lawn will undoubtedly not grow as fast. And so, yeah, you have it right, Stan. For me, I think that's outstanding observation.
So we have to. How are we going to get there? They used to say, spray rock dust. If everybody stopped, gosh, I mean, this is a bold statement, but we have about 60 years left on the planet if we don't change our farming practices, and if we don't stop chopping down the trees, the Amazon and so on. So if there's any validity to that, we need to be looking at regenerating the soil. And that book that I was just referred to, it talked about spraying rock dust. It's got all the certain kind of rock dust. It's got all the minerals, and to neutralize all of the toxicity, and then start correcting our farming practices.
Yes, no doubt. As we make the transition here, and we're living at our highest excitement, the planet, our dualistic planet, will be sliding away all the time now. And so, as you work more with your planet, as you say, and not live in fear, that new reality is appearing for more and more people all the time. And so, yeah, that's correct. If you want to initiate it with working with that element, it does support it. That intention here because we need intrinsics to implement our intentions because we don't have a lot of energy here, so to speak, is an outstanding way to revitalize forests and or maybe just go out and plant a couple trees. It is one of the biggest. It is one of the biggest shocks here. I can say that the last implant that was removed from me, that was a tough month to see the destruction of this planet, to see what the great wars have done to many of the continents. And I'm still stifled that we would mass produce living beings to build homes that only last under a decade when we have all this natural minerals and stone here. I contradict myself in a wood home right now. And so I wonder when we will start initiating planetary construction methodologies that have to do with the base of our construct and or our crystalline planet. I would suggest looking at the pyramids. They're still level.
Well, what do you mean they're still level?
Nobody's noticing that if you go to Chichen Itza or any of these other great history markers for us, tell me how you can't build a high rise in plum, but the Great Pyramids are still plum. They're still level.
Oh, the pyramids, they're fascinating. Yeah. That's the fascinating.
So again, it is my great passion as I start getting more and more involved in the intrinsic initiations of what I assume will be great projects as we go forward here in our state of Jubilee is let's get some better fundamentals for constructions that are sustainable, and let's make sure our kids get them, not the banks.
Yeah, no, I totally, absolutely agree. It's a passion of mine is the pyramids, and start, growing hemp, I guess, and figure out a way to make beams to support beams to put these pyramids up. And then we can, stop cutting down the trees.
Yeah, I want to encourage everybody to just really start supporting your archaeologists, especially the little guys, because they don't have the luxury of toiling with the governments, but they are finding a lot of great tools for our history. Most of our governments, not all, are doing a good job of hiding the natural history of the evolution of humanity for thousands and thousands, and not just one ascension, like many. And the reason they're hiding it from you is the information is very tough to transfer concurrently with what everyone's been taught the last 100 years. So I've said in other shows, when you find artifact with a spaceship befriending a human, and it's not one, it's 1,000 of them, it's a tough topic to explain because you have competition with the aliens that are here. They can instantly pretend to be your saviors and your false gods. So this war is a little bit bigger than just AI, of course. There is an opportunity for some of these aliens to pretend to be a light being, a being that has major capabilities, and they can trick us instantly. And so playing our cards on how we educate people is their real tough one for certainly Egypt, China, and Mexico. Those days are coming to an end because you have all your capabilities back right now. And here's one way to start looking at artifacts and checking, get a history book maybe with the kids, what have you, get a workbook, and look at the great pyramids in Egypt, possibly, or others, and ask yourself out loud, Spirit, are these pyramids machines? And see what your heart tells you. And what you'll get is the heart will give you massive imagery of how those machines were utilized, where the power switch is. I'll assume Zora's probably already educated people. It's under the Sphinx. It's right. It's a very big switch. And of course, that would end your industrial development of your planet instantly if you did turn them on, and others. and if you understood how deep the oceans and how big the oceans really were. And so there's a lot of opportunities here in the following days that how do we educate an entire planet, combat the control of the education of the entire planet, keep people not knowing their God consciousness, and being benevolent at the same time, so we can survive within the next ascension cycle.
Well, that is the question of
how do
all
we get them to
questions.
come back? Sell them another car, please. They got to come back.
That's the question of all questions. And
but the beauty of it for all the homeschoolers, for me at least, is all the clues are here now. And when you have the kids getting comfortable using their heart to smell out BS, it's really fun. So everywhere you go with your kids, get a logbook. Even if they're giving you some guff, just write stuff down as they observe it without telling them to observe something. And it is beautiful how they already can discern information, process information. And again, I expect a lot of these little guys, little gals, are probably going to be our teachers for adults, is my assertion now.
Well, I certainly think, like, the toddlers, and, I imagine we were all like that way too when we were toddlers, but there was no doubt. Everything was just happy. Everything was at peace. Everything is just fine. And the 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, they somehow, even with all the stuff that they're being exposed to, they seem to stay in that high vibration, and that's a beautiful thing to see. And hopefully we can, there'll be more of it. What I mean by that is, even the, they're exposed to some of the sketchy food items, and they're being bombarded with the 5Gs and all that kind of stuff. They still seem to maintain their physical, their emotional, their mental, and their spiritual. They keep in that happy and always laughing and always forgiving kind of a frame of being. That's what I'm That's what I'm noticing, anyways. Now, having said that, yes, there is, and there definitely is, situations where there is, abuse happening, and unfortunately, those children are, going through some unfortunate, difficulties. But
yeah, it's tough. Being unaware of it is good too. And so some of the propaganda is very difficult to get information now. Is one of the reasons for the topic today. Is so one of the reasons we don't show my face is they can instantly, and many of the rest of us within the silos of teams, don't show our face because that's propaganda for you to believe in some kind of discredited or positive. So as an example, Stan, if we had your picture up right now, they could have you kicking puppies tomorrow, no problem. Stan's a puppy kicker, Okay, so the cutting and pasting of your stories now is so prolific because you don't have a way to sustain the historian in real time with the publication. You can try and you can upload them to your personal devices, but I assure you over time, there are technologies to cut and paste your private hard drives. And so it's really, my suggestion is to stop using our technology as our basis for learning. And my suggestion would be the expression and experience is our new learning system. And that goes for survival in our societies, in our communities. The more we support each other in this, whether it's micro communities or what have you, the experience is our dedicated learning tool, not anything outside of ourselves. So many people say, "What book authors do you recommend?" I say, none. They're not from me. They're not from. So you're the librarian, is my opinion. Although obviously there's some people that do write some good books, but I'll assert that we are able to collaborate with each other and give each other knowledge continuously now. So the more you're in a circle of friends, regardless of what you're saying, you're absolutely getting more of your capabilities, tools, knowledge centers back just because of where you're at in the ascension cycle. And it's fabulous to see, and it's a great thrill for me to see this, how many people are now changing, seeing that. And I'll explain some of the symptoms you might be experiencing just so I can help others. Is that okay, Stan?
Yeah, well, you bet.
Have you had ascension symptoms through the years?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's been times where I've been just about vibrating out of my body. When I use when I do the commands in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I think the two of them together are so powerful. But I use the Wim Hof breathing. You take 30 deep breaths and then blow it all out on your last one and then hold. I started out at 1 minute. Now I'm up past 2 minutes, and I've been doing that for months. But when you add that breathing, do the breathing before and after the commands. Oh my goodness! Sometimes I just about vibrate right out of my body.
Yeah.
Is that what happens when I haven't done this ascension thing before? But is that what ascension might be? You start vibrating higher and higher and higher and faster?
Yeah, that's an outstanding overview. A lot of the folks teaching multiple modalities in dojos and so forth, that's one of the things they I believe are required to teach you is how to stay in your body, because many of the motions and flows release all of that tension that comes from thought. And certainly it gets tricky to stay inside the body. And that is a classic symptom that most people are probably seeing more and more as they come in and out of their sleep state. And what's fun and needed to be more aware of, in my opinion, we start with the kids to let them know that all their dreams are real. And then, of course, the first thing the moms are doing is throwing the shoe at the computer at me now, because you don't want them to acknowledge that they're having a bad dream. And I say that, no, you do, because you want them talking about it. So most of the AI and most of the aliens are counting on this etheric realm right before you get in the body and then when you leave. And that's why I'll probably do an entire couple hours on just the etheric alone. And so they're counting on us to make that transition in and out of the body, and then participating with us through our dream state, not knowing we're still in our body and or in the beyondo, etheric, whatever you want to call it, in that transition time. And so what's fun for me is the more you acknowledge that you're coming and going in your body, well, that's actually the same tool when you're in reality here, but you've been programmed, for lack of a better definition, to think through life instead of feel through life, which makes that dream state appear instantly. So I would encourage everybody to remove the word manifest and replace it with creativity. I'm creating, and now I am experiencing it. That's the sequence of events I feel we could help with this next round of children, is start them out with, your dreams are all real. Do you want to talk about them? Give them an avenue to talk about them. And what you're going to find for most parents is they've met a buddy when they went dreaming and daydreaming and so forth, and then we're calling it their spirit friend. Well, not all spirit friends are spirit friends. So just FYI. And you'll see a pattern of how we dabble in the etheric consistently day in and day out and don't even know it. Because our dream state is only recognized when we sleep, but you're actually dreaming right now. Everything you're doing is a dream right now. Mm-hmm. And you're initiating it through a physical body. And so the more we talk about this and relate it to ascension symptoms, you're going to see it's actually the solution are the symptoms, because you're at a higher level of existence, per se, observed in a physical body. So when you go to step on that first step going upstairs and it doesn't exist, that's because you were in a state of peace and didn't process to make yourself a step. Very fascinating. So you're actually making the step in real time. That's how fast of a creator you are. And when you're having symptoms and are at a higher vibration, you can leave. You can create another reality. Your room will change shape. There's many people who now can move furniture, lift a ball that's across the room, envision the neighbor coming over to borrow a cup of sugar, etc. That should be very common for a lot of folks now in their intimate relationships, finishing people's sentences, vice versa. If you're not experiencing this sequence of events through inspiration, if you're not having a sequence of events that flows like that, that's how you know you're using your brain. You're negatively reacting to situations instead of proactively creating them. So that's my great passion, is to share the difference with folks. And the more that you recognize it, the more it will come commonplace. And again, my goal here is for everyone to have a beautiful, beautiful, incredible life.
Yeah, I think that's what else is there? Well, what's the alternative? I'm with you. What is the alternative? And so I think we just need to keep focused and keep working, on it. And because what is the alternative? It's not a happy place.
Yeah. So anyway, our heart, it gets tiring even for me to talk about it. We don't have a tool book here except the one that was given to us, and that is our compass in our heart. And the more you do it, the more your reality changes to whatever you want, even in these bodies, even this type of body. But I want to make you aware that the people of America, you really need to start digging in now. And if you had a lot of chances here, and the old ways aren't going to work for you anymore, you got to really start doing your work now. And the reason for that is because it's go time. Again, I do not want to sound redundant and repetitive, but the systems you've inherited to do day in and day out business and commerce are the weapon against you. This very computer is watching everything you do, and it has a plan, and that plan is falling into place very, very quickly. And so I'm not going to speak about other countries, because some of them are aware of it and are doing something about it. America, you've got to get her going. You've had many chances now. You have an opportunity to keep looking at these machines and waiting for the white horse to come in. But your systems have failed you. Your courts have failed you. Your entire infrastructure has failed you. No one's going to help you, folks. You got to get up and do something. It's my encouragement for you all.
Can I play a 42-second clip?
You can play whatever you want. Let's go.
Okay.
Members of the board, my name is Craig Schubert.
Can you hear it?
Mayor of this city. It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography in the classroom. I've spoken to a judge this evening. She's already confirmed that. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. Either choose to resign from this Board of Education, or you will be charged. Thank you.
Could you hear that, Q? Q, are you there?
Yeah, I sure did. I sure did.
Okay, I second that, Q. Like, you know, people really, you know, and this is a mayor that has got the conviction. I mean, not all people have been infiltrated. And this is a mayor that's very solid. And when he was made aware of all of the child pornography in the libraries and pedophilia, for that matter, they're putting into the libraries, and so he is just one example of there are a lot of good people out there that are you know, taking a stand, and so people, you know, there's all kinds of different ways to get involved. You know, the school boards, the town halls, the you know, and make your voice heard and stand up against this stuff, because I agree. We have to do it. We, the people.
Yeah, absolutely, and it has a happy ending, I assure you. But we all are accountable now, and we all as tough as it might be for some folks not recognizing it. I assure you, there's a lot of tools in you now, and if you just follow your heart in your next decisions, it'll come easier and easier and easier, and things are just going to show up that you didn't even try because you sought them. You when you have this burning desire, it doesn't have to be this fantastic explosion. It's just a desire. It's a yearning. And so I'm doing my best to use my past experiences of what it was like to be in this body now and what it was like to be out of this body. And that's what I want to be used for. We are completely different when we're not in these bodies. We are massively capable. And it's as if we're walking in 3 feet of mud every day, trying to breathe. And it's quite fascinating how powerful we are, even in an environment that's working to make us dance every day. So I assure you, you have a lot of tools now if we would just start choosing what we prefer and forget about your systems. They haven't served you. Your process systems are the way you build and so forth. Sure, those have a lot of weight to them, but the infrastructure in which you're working just for a means of exchange is all disappearing. You will not be able to go to work soon to make money. You will get yourself sick. Survival is going to change for you all now, or you're going to get sick. You have to be excited about what you're doing, or you're never going to have the energy and the synchronicity of your universe. So it was designed by you. You can create anything you want here right now, I assure you.
So is that kind of similar to, you know, there's all kinds of parallel systems that are, you know, people are coming on board with, and, you know, totally apart from the existing system. I think also, you know, once we do have the GESERA, well, we need to be prepared for the GESERA, so get a head start maybe, but I think when we do get the come into the GESERA and the RV, I think a lot of people are really motivated to get out there and get their projects going.
Yeah. Okay. So it's my least favorite topic, but it does have weight, and a lot of folks that may not even understand what meditation is. And so that abundance, perceived abundance, might do some help because you don't have the survival, maybe as much survival hindrances because of lack of money. I am very excited about the world and its next steps here. Look at all the countries that have been abused by the United States dollar, the war machine. And I can assure you that many countries are ready to go. And the infrastructures are in place. But there's one thing missing, and that is our collective consciousness.
Yeah, that's right.
It gets really nice peaks. You know, someone that gets to see this information, I'll tell you, we get some really nice peaks over the holidays, and then we fall apart again. Then we get some nice peaks, and then we fall apart. And I'm being facetious on the holidays, of course, but we're not sustaining a level of awareness regarding means of exchange. And as a running joke, as an American, if you gave everybody in America $1 billion, they'd just go to Costco and ask how come nobody's working. And so there's not a lot of self-awareness as a general rule on the planet to observe what means of exchange really is. There's lots of people who still want to get rich, and that's the only way out of this. And so the harder I work, the richer I'll be, and then I'll be fine, and I'll run around in Winnebago for the next 30 years and then die. So that is a beautiful philosophy for me, one in which I lived within at one time in America. Well, all that's going away now because you should be able to see it in America pretty easy now when you go to the mall. And there's a lot of stores that aren't up and running anymore in the malls. Things are going pretty good for you, maybe, but if you start looking around,
yeah,
America's really not even close to producing a thriving infrastructure to support everybody, whereas everybody in other countries have figured it out in a lot of respects.
Yeah, well, I think that's all by design. These AI and the minions, that was been the plan for a long time, and they've done a pretty good job. But I think that everything I'm hearing is Trump is getting ready to come back in and undo everything that the current administration has done, and where goes the U.S., goes Canada, and the rest of the world. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that, and maybe that's a good thing, and maybe it's not that good. But people can't rely on Trump and Trump alone. We all have to get in and participate and raise our consciousness and build our communities and so on. But
yeah. I for one am tired of helicopters following me everywhere, so I'm good with that story. But really, we can take this in our hands, no problem. And with great encouragement, my brothers and sisters in America, we have everything right here. We own the cart and the horse, and I'm really proud. Always will be proud to be an American. And comprehensively using the independence as a tool. But unfortunately, you gave away all your rights when you signed the terms and conditions on your phone contract. So you're losing ground on your rights all the time and tools to support you if you don't use the literally God-given tool of the United States independence. And a lot of people are far better versed at explaining it, but you got to look at how we are adopting AI every day with tools and means that we think are normal, i.e. making a contract with a phone company that was designed by aliens. That's right, Mr. Verizon. And so I get tuckered out when I say, how come how come nothing's changing? I texted him and told him not to do that. I'm telling you, we're in an electronic war with aliens. I'm sorry to inform everybody. And this is how you fight them. You don't participate. You do what you want. And that's my long-winded statement that my brothers and sisters in America, wait till you see all of us united as one planet. It is going to be amazing.
Yeah, bravo. So last week, you had mentioned, and I don't know where you want to go. I have another question, unless you wanted to bring up something else, Q.
Please continue.
Lost my headset here. The last week you had talked about coming in as a gray, and you also mentioned that there's a lot of grays around, or at least some grays around, and they're completely cyborg or robot. So I don't know if you want to go there, but I think a lot of people figure, like, have figured in the past that, wow, this is a difficult transition. All of this awakening and truth seeking and everything, and raising our vibrations. Does that pale in comparison to what you had to go through? And I don't know the whole story, obviously, but if you came in as a gray, were you very programmed at that time?
No, yeah. So I am being patient with this. I'm giving everybody the opportunity to tell my story, Zora's story, really just to give them an opportunity to come clean. Notice that they're not stopping us talking about this, and that's the good guys, of course, wanting to get this out in a neutral fashion. And a lot of people are accountable for making prisons around the planet with individuals that came here to help the planet. And of course, Area 51 is one of many, and Area 51 is a prison, at least in the time that I was there. And the reason it's called a prison for me is because that was a legacy collaboration center for all sorts of races of beings to hang out at a light planet. So this planet used to be light, didn't have duality. And so Earth was viewed as like a Club Med, a vacation place, and there was a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for not damaging it. And when you visited it, just playing and participating with it and the people that lived here. Area 51 is one of the legacy landing spots where there's neutral. You ask permission when you come into a planet that has lesser consciousness, lesser technology. You're very careful, because when you're outside of here and have multidimensional travel, you understand that it's an unspoken rule in you not to cross-pollinate a developing planet out of respect and appreciation for that experience. It's a fabulous experience to learn. It's beautiful. There's nothing better than learning how to read one day, right? And then realize that it's black magic. That's learning, right? Okay, so yeah. On and on it goes. The reason we did it this way, Zora did ask me that. It's a privilege and honor to get any questions from Zora. The reason we did it that way is because when you, as a light being, what we're able to do is do time travel. And so it's really easy for us. You all have the same ability. You just don't have the same desire or inspiration. But we're dedicated to being time travelers in creation and help co-create. So we just, because we're not here in real time with you, that's the only reason I'm able to talk to you from the other side and here, is because the intention to be a human here has been my inspiration, not an imprisonment. So like some of us are dedicated to grow the universe, as an example, and I'm dedicated to participating in the universe you created. So essentially most of us on this planet are experts, and I would be viewed as a greenhorn because I'm the time travel. I'm never dedicated to one area, so to speak. Well, with that capability, we observed, all of us observed, the light ship observed that humanity was being steered into a genetic manipulation where we were very heavy, had a heavy brain, and could not procreate. And so that's what you're seeing here is a massive recording system and get some real quality work done, and you can make slaves out of them. Well, because the thirst for technology was so great then, we'll say in the 40s and 50s in the competition with the other aliens, so to speak, the goal was to entice, in this case, the CIA, how to receive us in a way that we would get into your reality, and that was a time-traveling vessel. And those are very common on your planet because other beings have been here too. So we can go in time travel, remove time, but frequency travel, so we could come to in and out from another dimension. That's what you're calling it. That's not correct. It's a frequency. And now participate with you at your frequency, in which allowed bargainings to happen. So if we give you this technology, you clean up your act, as an example. And of course, the CIA could not resist having a multidimensional vessel, multiple of them, and of course started backwards engineering them. The trade-off was to educate people on where they're going. And as you can see, the trade-off did not work very well. So when we make that transition, many tests were done to me and many others, and this ultimately allowed us to get into the karmic recycling center here and participate as a human. Otherwise, getting into your reality as a light being is not as easy as you think. Again, the dark knows the light does not know the dark. So having a little trickery getting us in the karmic wheel here is why we did it that way.
Wow. That is, that's very interesting.
Right, and so we have a lot of this, and that's why it's so disappointing to see our corporations manipulate our technology. And that's why I'm happily to call them out whenever I can, is all of the technology you'd ever need is on your planet. It's been here forever and ever and ever. Again, look at the pyramids. There's really no excuse at this point to limit a developing consciousness when they've taken us too far down the road anyway. So they've accelerated our technology for control instead of learning about it first and how it will impact your society. You've just been force-fed it. You've been force-fed monetary systems. Your health systems have been forced down your throat. Everything here has been forced on you in its relationship to mimicking and reducing the what technology really is here, and that's you. And that's my great privilege to say that, is we are the technology. And I ask you to coach me and direct me where you would like.
Well, I'm not sure the format here. I didn't really talk to Jane, but did she usually open it up for questions?
We at this point, we expect you to tell dirty jokes.
Oh, well, I'm not too good at that. I hear a joke yesterday and I forgot it already today.
Okay, very good. Let me give you an example of time travel most of us have gone through here intentionally. This is something that I'm getting more and more in my conversations with people, one-on-ones, and I thank you all for calling into me. It helps me direct us. So anytime you call me, you're helping a lot of other people, because we're looking for similarities as we go through the ascension, because this version of humans is very unique. Its environment is unique, and this version of humans is tricky. And so the more feedback I can get, shortcuts, any great advances, I'm all ears. But here's an interesting thing that should be happening to most people if they are probably between 30 and 70, somewhere in there. Anything younger than that, if they haven't been too badly impacted by their environment, probably does it at will. But I would say between the ages of 30 and 70, this is something that you can do right now. One day you're with your wife, friend, husband, and you said, I swear 20 years before I met you, I swear I met you before that, but that's impossible because you're 15 years younger than me. You're 10 years younger than me. But I'm pretty sure in 1985, when I was at the fair, you rode the Ferris wheel with me. I'm really sure of it because, okay, let's just have a gander at it. Do you remember that too? I do remember vaguely someone that looked like you when I was at the fair in 1985. It was like, well, let's just play with it. Let's just use your heart. What were you wearing that day? And the answer comes back identical to what the person was wearing. All right, so this is not a symptom. That's actually you doing it. So much of your time throughout your life now will start looking as one time. And now it's getting more and more obvious. And that's also a way to do age regression naturally. Health regression, health enhancements is by going forward and backward in time and exercising how you recreate your body day in and day out in a timeline or a location because of your heart, not your head. So it's quite fascinating conversation for me to let people know that everyone has time traveling capability. You're living proof. Just look in the mirror. Now, how we utilize this, what I'm encouraging everybody to just let life flow, and you're going to see everything materialize. I hope that helps.
Wow, that's a new one. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, and of course you have to be around people, but that should be fairly common. It's just that. So another good trick, maybe for the kids, fun tool is if they get a dream book, get them to draw or write down their dreams. And don't ever let them stop if you can. At least get some kind of sequence once a week, maybe twice a month or something. Just get some kind of frequency if you can. And in 20 years, the entire story will make sense to them. But it won't be in the sequence of events in which they dreamed it. So you started, last night you may have dreamt you were on the little red brick road, and 10 years earlier, you were in the big bad wolf's house. So your dream state is not dictated by time and or sequence of events. It's dictated by you. And so that's why I'm encouraging everybody to remember everything you do is a dream. God is dreaming. It's experiencing what you're experiencing right now. We're all dreaming now, folks. Every day you're a dream that you create through this physicality.
Neato.
Yeah, I guess that's it. No dirty jokes, Ansel. No, we don't really have a format other than I rely on the callers and the dialogue and the feel of where we're at in these shows. And what we're able to see as our consciousness is ready to make the next big step. And to your point, you played a conversation with a mayor and a council system. You know, we're ready to stop these old ways, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's probably time to go grab a coffee. I'm sure everybody's ready for coffee or tea or something.
Yeah, let's give Don an attaboy. The BBS couldn't do it without him, and maybe we will close this down so they can get a couple of minutes here for themselves. But it's a privilege and an honor to do these. And any feedback we can get from everyone listening now or in the future, just keep it coming. Really thirsty for everyone's feedback. Direct me as you want information. Use me as much as you can. But I assure you, you have all the abilities I do, and you're getting your memories back. Just keep playing with it. And my relationships, I will call too. I'm on it. I'll be back with you soon. And I'll finish like this, if you don't mind, Stan.
Yeah.
For all of us, for our planet, for all of our universe, I command prime creation to enhance us right now. I command prime creation to enhance our universe. Give us all of us right now. I command prime creation to increase our life force energy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it will be.
receive much appreciation and gratitude to you, and love and respect. Thank you so much.
Good day.
For all of you do for all of us. Have a good day. Thank you again. Bye-bye.